maybe we need to incorporate practices that remind us that patience is a virtue, that there are benefits to it, that there is a greater reward for being patient and doing things the right way. And I think fishing is a great playground for those lessons to be taught and ingrained into somebody's character. We're constantly putting out content like that, specifically so that you know where to turn to when you want information on something, say, for example, like security for your boat. Welcome to another episode of the Southern Boating Podcast. I'm Ian Sneed.
I'm James Anderson.
And now that we've changed our outfits from last week, oh, weird. We're wearing the same thing.
The same shirt. Imagine that.
Today we're going to be talking about boat security and making memories fishing by teaching the next generation how to fish. Two topics that I think you're really going to enjoy. Before we get into it, remember to subscribe to the channel and leave a comment. Let us know if you learned to fish from somebody older than you and your family teaching you, or if you have a different experience on learning how to fish. Because for me, it'll be a different experience, right? But I'm sure you probably learned to fish with your pops.
I think you already know the answer to that.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, because you look at pictures in my office.
It's called a leading question, James. Play along.
So, yes. Obviously, yeah. I mean, you already know. My father taught me how to fish. I've got a picture in my office where I'm fishing with my dad. It's one of my favorite pictures.
I love that picture too, to be honest.
Yeah,
that's great.
It's a great picture because, it's just, it tells a story in and amongst itself. And I can remember that picture being taken. I think I was in the 5th grade, to be honest with you. So that's way back in the 90s, in the early 90s. And that summer I had a competition with my dad after he taught me how to fish, who could catch the most fish across the summer in the backyard. And I cannot remember who won, but I know after my dad taught me how to fish, I fished the 2 lakes in my neighborhood nonstop. And to this day, I don't fish as much anymore, but I can tell you I fished a lot all the way up through my 30s. And I'm sure I am going to teach my son how to fish when he's ready.
Right.
So let's jump into this article first.
Yeah.
Now that you've brought it up, let's change course a little bit and talk about the fishing article.
All right,
first,
we'll switch it up. Yeah.
This is one that I absolutely enjoyed reading because it is very insightful.
I loved it. I loved it.
It's a great read.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that we wrote this article and published this article during our fishing issue in June, because I do think it is very important for father-son or any other type of relationship,
mentor
through generations.
mentee.
Yeah,
Let's just
passing down the fishing traditions, right? And how to fish, because fishing can be therapeutic. It's very enjoyable. There's just so much that
so many
can
benefits
bring to you.
Yeah.
That I know for me, it's a therapeutic exercise.
Well, and let's talk about it. We were just talking about people, and I don't remember. I think this will probably end up being in the bloopers. But people sitting at a table, and instead of interacting with each other, they're on their phone. Right. There's also in society nowadays a lack of patience that comes with, because everything is so digital and instant, that maybe we need to incorporate practices that remind us that patience is a virtue, that there are benefits to it, that there is a greater reward for being patient and doing things the right way. And I think fishing is a great playground for those lessons to be taught and ingrained into somebody's character. So when we touch on this, teaching the next generation to fish, we have to remember we're not just teaching them to fish, we're actually incorporating life lessons into
100%
into what we're teaching them. So I think it's a great article because we have 10 steps for everybody. So if you're like, I want to teach, I don't know how to teach them, I'm just going to kind of wing it. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you do have a plan of attack to at least help you, then I think you're going to find that your efforts provide more results or more fruitful.
Absolutely.
So it's
Absolutely.
just that's
To me, I'm the plan out kind of guy instead of just winging it. And I think fishing really calls for that. And it's also part of the lesson in learning to fish, right? Is that there's some planning that goes into this.
Right.
It's not just grab a pole and go to any body of water and,
Right.
and cast out your bait or your lure and, and hope for the best. No, there's some planning to this. So going over this 10 steps, the very first one is kind of obvious, but it is something you got to learn. You got to scout for locations, right? It's just like I said, you can't go to any just body of water. And especially as you're learning or teaching somebody to fish, is you want to do whatever you can to increase the odds of catching a fish.
Yeah.
So that enjoyment piece can be there.
Yes.
Right?
Absolutely.
And that's an important part. So you got to scout your locations, make sure that they're fish, know what kind of fish you're going after and so forth. So that's part of it. The other one is getting ready. So that makes sure that you have everything that you need. You got to have the right rod, reel, and that it's easy for a child to use.
Yeah.
So
you have the bait that you need, snacks, water, all of the, if you're going out, that you have a life vest for the child as well. Because let's face it, like that is crucial.
Kids around water.
Yes.
So that's part of the safety aspect, which was fishing safe, number 3. So yeah, I highly encourage. Listen, I have a 1-year-old. I have a pool in the backyard. I am scared to death with the kid around the water, point blank. I totally believe if you're going to be around a body of water, you put a life vest on a young kid, because you never know what can happen in the water, and especially here in Florida.
Yeah. Right.
We have all types of things in the water. I mean, from poisonous snakes to alligators to snapping turtles, anything. I mean, so safety number 1, and also that goes for casting, safety in that, and teaching the safety lessons are very important because those are life lessons. Talking tactics, what to do, when to do it, how to do it. Those are some important parts. And then
actually casting, making sure that it's it's safe to you, looking around to make sure that it's actually safe to cast, that you're not going to...
Teaching them a proper way to cast. For kids, it's usually side arm at first, right? And teaching them, what goes into it. Then the other one is gear for success. We already mentioned having the right rod, reel for your kid. Hooks.
Yeah.
These hooks have barbs on them.
Yep.
I don't know about you, but I've had a hook in my finger. And
dude,
in my arm.
I'll tell you this quick story. I haven't had a hook like in me where we had to get emergency services involved. You know what I mean? But
I never get emergency services involved.
Do you just rip it out or
cut it out?
Okay, so that's fine. 7th grade, I'm in science class. Okay, and I forget what the project is, but we're dealing with like hooks, and our teacher, I actually remember her name. That's the funny part. But our teacher, she goes, just be careful because if these fall, they'll get stuck in you and we'll be obligated to call emergency services. We'll be obligated to have an ambulance come to help get it out. Like we can't do that. So as she says that, I drop the hook as she's saying this, and it lands on my thumb. And it's in my thumb, and she's saying we're gonna have to call 911 or whatever. And I'm sitting there looking at my thumb, looking at her, and I'm like, "Oh no!" And so I managed to like get the hook out, like get it off, without anybody being the wiser. But I remember I put the hook down. I was like, I'm going to stop playing with things. I was like, I'm just going to sit here quietly.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's things you can do. You can file off the barb. You can push the barb down with a pair of pliers to make it a little safer. There's safety bobbers that the hook recedes into. So there's some ways around that.
Yeah.
Right? There's some things that you can do, and that's part of the gear.
And we talk about that, right in the Gear for Success piece.
Right?
Yeah, it's great.
We also touch on what we call the 7th one is play and land, right? So how to reel in a fish, how to land the fish, getting some help with taking the hook out and so forth. And,
right.
That's very important. The other one is number 8 was don't underestimate their abilities.
Right.
I always feel that it is very important that when a child is learning something is to let them learn firsthand.
Right.
Right. You don't need to rush in and do it for them.
Right.
Let them struggle a little bit if they need to struggle. Maybe they usually won't because they've been watching you.
Right.
Like I learned from my 1-year-old, the amount that he picks up from just observing is amazing.
It's
and
incredible.
He's 1. So,
Yeah.
a 5, a 6, or a 7-year-old that's learning how to fish, he's already very astute in observing the adult. So
Yes.
he's going to mimic that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's very important. And then number 9 is the most important one to me.
Yeah.
Having fun.
Yep.
Obviously, if you guys watch the show, I like to have fun.
Yeah.
So I feel it's very important.
It is funny. This reminds me of, so I watched Friends all the time, and there's that episode where Joey buys a boat, and then Rachel says, "I'll teach you how to, boat, right? I'll teach you how to sail." And she yells at him. She's yelling at him the way her dad yelled at her. And he's like, "You're no fun. You're mean. Like, I don't like this." But it made me think of that. Like, Joey just wanted to have fun, and she was trying to teach him something. So she got like angry the way her dad did with her. And so as I was reading this, I'm like, yeah, you're right. Like, have fun. Like, the whole experience is meant to build memories.
Yeah, it's meant to build memories. And like we led into this, like some of my best memories with my dad are like that picture in my office. And that's why it's in my office.
Yeah.
Because that's what I want to remember. Right. So when I look at that, I always smile. And I know that summer was very fun for me to compete with my dad, because every day when he came home, guess what the first thing I told him was?
Yeah.
Is that I had caught so many fish in a day, and like that was the best part, because then my dad would, come home and obviously we had that little interaction first, but the next thing I know is, he got into his relaxation clothes and it would come out and fishing with me in the afternoon if the sun was still up. So that's really important, is to foster that this can be a fun activity, right? And then the last one is preparing for next time.
Yeah.
It's kind of like rinse and repeat.
Yeah.
Right? It's
right.
It's one of those things. You want to make sure that they understand that this can be a repetitive process.
Right. And preparing for next time could also be as simple as like teaching them, when you start to put things away, put them away where you want them to be found the next time you come, right? Because sometimes you're a little tired. It's the end of the day. You're excited to go and relax and enjoy your catch, or, so you just kind of put everything back all quick so that you could just get out of there. Well, if you take a moment and put everything back right now, next time you go out, it's going to be much easier.
It's going to be ready to go. Right. And not only that, is teaching the lesson that not every time is going to be the same. So if you didn't catch fish today, it doesn't mean that you're not going to catch fish next time.
Right.
Right.
And then the article talks about in the preparing for next time, as you're, say, driving back home or whatever, you can debrief about the days. What did you learn? How did you like it? What are the parts that you did like? What parts do you think you need to work on? Well, okay, here's what we can address next time. And you start to build this anticipation of, oh, there's more of this. There's more memories like this. There's more special trips like me and my pops.
Absolutely. And you can come up with new ideas as you debrief, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So this is great. I really enjoyed this read. I thought it was very, very important. So it's one of my favorite articles. I think it's now my favorite article in the June issue, just because we've just highlighted all the memories I have.
Yeah.
So the last one we'll go over relatively quickly, because it's something that is relatively important with the way in which things are today, right? We know that, especially here in South Florida, that it is hard to secure your boat at times, right? It's not always easy. And there's a lot of theft that happens all over the place, whether it's not just here, it can be anywhere in the world, right? Anywhere in the United States, anywhere in the world, doesn't matter. It can happen. Yeah. So one of the ways that you protect yourself is by utilizing security devices. So this one that the article is written on in June is about a specific one, but there are a lot of different devices in regards to security, right? So this one goes overseas.
And I do want to talk real quick about some of the features of this one specifically.
Absolutely, please do.
So Skyhawk overseas, I think one of the most impactful elements of it is it's all wireless. It's all completely wireless, even from itself. So you have the main hub, and then you have various sensors. None of those have to be connected via wire. None of them have a crazy, code that you have to put in to figure out, okay, wait, this receiver is this. It's just a QR code that you scan on the app, and you connect everything right on the app and everything connects to itself. So it's very convenient as far as how you're connecting everything and the different types of sensors that they have. They have like build sensors, battery sensors. They even have sensors that will notice if an alarm is going off, and it'll notify the hub, and you'll get a notification on your phone. It'll notice location. It has 3 types of location notifications. It has GPS, it has triangulation with cellular, and then it has Wi-Fi. So even if it's inside a building where, GPS isn't going to function as well, you're still going to get the location of your vessel. I think I thought that was great.
And
the way
it uses
they did that.
a compass too.
Yes.
So you can tell if your boat is being
if it's moving,
dragged,
which way it's moving.
You're correct.
So
it's
all the details.
It's really incredible. And the thing that I loved about this is it's not hardwired into your boat.
Right.
So you're not draining your boat's power or batteries. You are actually utilizing the batteries within these individual devices.
Right.
Right. So, and they say that the batteries will last pretty good amount of time. I was actually surprised when I read this that they're saying that some of the sensors will last up to 5 years on a single battery.
Exactly. And it was a
That's
AAA
impressive.
or AA, some
AA
batteries.
AA batteries? I thought so.
So it's easy to replace too. The battery when you need it. Oh, okay. It's
a
everywhere.
AA battery. I mean,
it's everywhere.
I've got a million batteries, right?
Yeah.
I've got kids. I got batteries all over the place.
Right.
You got the battery daddy.
And so this article really kind of goes into more detail about this specific system. But you're right, as you were saying when you started.
So there are other devices out there. I believe this side of the market is actually being, there's a lot of devices coming to this, right? Because we realize that theft is becoming a thing. So there's Ghost, there's Siren from Yamaha, there's plenty of products out there, right? And they all have their little different tricks. They all do something a little different. So if you're looking for a way to get more security on your boat, right? To be able to monitor your boat remotely, make sure that your boat's not being stolen, make sure that things aren't being stolen off of your boat, do your homework, find out what you really need, and go out and help yourself. I mean, this is a great read, but this is only one product.
Right.
Right? And you need to go, there's Ghost, there's Siren, and there's a couple of others.
And the reason we'll write up, say, for example, how this one focuses on this one product is because we want to be part of that education process for you. But we do have sometimes it's electronic roundups where we're bringing new electronic devices that are out to market for you. And a lot of times you'll see security. Sometimes it'll be audio. Sometimes it'll be something else entirely. But we're constantly putting out content like that specifically so that you know where to turn to when you want information on something, say, for example, like security for your boat.
And this just happens to be the new one that we wrote about, right?
Exactly.
It's new, it's unique, it's interesting, right?
Yes.
And we feel an obligation to let you know about it. So that's it for security. That's it for this episode. Please make sure that you check back next week. Always remember, if you haven't subscribed yet, click the subscribe button. And I'm James Anderson.
I'm Ian Sneed.
That's kind of like a question. Am I James Anderson?
I don't know.
Sometimes
it really was.
There's like a question. But I definitely know I'm James Anderson.
And I know I'm Ian Sneed.
Thank you very much. Yeah, this is like probably going to be our quickest episode.
Yes.
So the younger generations, I get so aggravated, especially when I'm out to dinner and you see like 4 young kids at a table, at a dinner table at a restaurant, and they're all doing this. Not one of them is talking to each other. But then you can tell that they've been texting each other because they're pointing stuff out on each other's phones. It's like, can you just like guys have a conversation?
So it's funny because I agree that's annoying, but at the same time, what I think we're missing there is the way they're connecting is different. Whereas, we can connect verbally with somebody, share stories,
right?
And the imagination of the stories plays out in our head. Whereas them, they have references. So what they do is they pull up references to show and share. Like it's essentially they brought show and tell from elementary school to the table.
That's digitally show and tell.
Digital show and tell.
Right.
Like that's really what it is.
But they're not verbal. They just
And then like, bro, did you see this meme? And they'll send it to him, and they'll look at each other like, you see
and
it,
they
you
giggle,
see it,
but they don't talk.
Exactly.
It drives me nuts.
Oh man! All right, let's get started. Ready?
I'm ready.